Here we go. First YouTube live answering a question that came in today. And this question has to do with revocable living trusts and specifically how to get assets into the trust to avoid probate. So I'm going to read the question and go through it with you right now. It says, we are interested in making a revocable trust which would include many vehicles. Some are daily drivers, some are collectible. We tend to buy and sell vehicles and are wondering if the trust could say all vehicles are included in the trust rather than listing each individually and having to add and delete as they come and go. The same question would apply to guns and jewelry, or does each item need to be specifically listed and detailed? Thank you. Okay, great question. And this comes up a lot in my practice with estate planning with personal property and vehicles. So let's tackle the personal property first, which is the guns and jewelry. And a trust is a great vehicle for the guns and jewelry because we can avoid probate on all the assets placed in the trust. And this includes what we call in the estate planning field personal property. So personal property is all the property you own that doesn't have a title. Think of objects in your possession, like this printer right here, the suit coat I'm wearing, clothing, my Fitbit watch, jewelry, items of personal adornment, everything sitting in your garage, shovels, rakes, anything without a title that you have possession of basically by possession is personal property. And we say this usually works. We describe it as items $10,000 or less each in value, but on your property or farm or garage, those types of things. And remember, personal property is included in probate property. So if you have a will or no will and you go through probate, all of that property must be assigned a value by your personal representative, and then the probate court applies a fee to that property. And for many folks, this is why probate can become so difficult, is just trying to catalog all that stuff and come up with a value for it. So if you think of a lot of stuff we buy, we just go to the store, we give them money, they give us the item, right? Like this jacket, and I get a receipt, but there's not really a title for the property. A certificate of title, I should say. So the great thing about guns and jewelry is they are considered personal property. We can assign them to the trust immediately after you sign it and notarize it with my office. I have a one-page assignment of personal property and a big paragraph that lists all these items and includes additional examples such as guns, jewelry, items of personal adornment, furniture, clothing, etc. And we can assign it all by contract into the trust once we have the trust. So it's a great way. In fact, one of the benefits I feel people don't realize is that we can avoid probate on all that personal property as soon as we get the trust in place. And for many people, if you have collectibles, other things, I mean, it all adds up. That personal property can have significant value. And if you think about some people, like I said, if you have a home, a garage, or even a second property full of personal property, this is a lot of items we can transfer easily. Now, the cars, the answer gets a little bit more complicated because cars do have a certificate of title in the state of Wisconsin, and generally they follow the title on the car. Now, you mentioned having daily drivers, so my general advice is if you have, let's say you're a married couple, you have 2 cars and they're your daily drivers. I understand that you often buy and sell them throughout your life. So for married couples in Wisconsin with community property, I suggest you keep them titled jointly. That way, if something happened to one of you, the other one, there's a simplified method. They would automatically inherit the car, but even if they weren't on there, if you're married in Wisconsin, the DMV has a form for a surviving spouse. Now, as you get older, if you go down to 1 car or 2 cars total, one option is to buy the next car right in the name of your revocable living trust. And you can do this by just taking the certificate of trust, the short form version of your trust that I provide to you if you work with my office, you can just take that when you go buy the new car and say, instead of John Smith, put Smith Revocable Trust on the title, and it's in there. This avoids having to buy it and pay the titling fee once and then retitle it later. So for the daily drivers you have now, I would say we'd look at how you have title now, and you could probably keep them that way depending on your age and health condition. But then next time, buy the next one in the name of the trust. Now for collectible cars, if it's a car you plan to keep a long time, I would suggest we retitle it into the name of the trust for two reasons. One, to avoid probate on it. Two, to avoid probate fees on that asset. And three, to get it in there immediately instead of waiting till after death to do so. So it's going to depend on the total amount of cars, but collectibles, if you're planning to hang on to them, I would put them into the trust. There isn't, because Wisconsin has a separate title on each car, I cannot do one simple assignment like I can for all your clothes and all your guns. But like I said, if you're planning to buy more collectibles once and buy and sell collectibles, let's say once you have the trust set up, you could buy and sell them directly within the trust for the same titling fee as an individual. So that would be one other option. And depending on the amount of collectibles, I can think of other options that we could go over and discuss. But that is how I would handle it. And for the daily drivers, I wouldn't get too worried. Again, you could buy the next one in the name of the trust, or decide at a certain age, 70, 75, whatever that is in your case, your family health history, we're going to start buying our daily drivers in the name of the trust. I'm talking in the case of a married couple, let's say, where you keep them jointly titled during life. So Wisconsin does not have, that's the simplest answer in Wisconsin. It's up to the legislature. This is how they've set it up. Next door in Minnesota, where I'm also licensed, the legislature recently passed a transfer on death certificate of title for automobiles. And this is a very handy way you can file that. And that's what I would suggest we do for your daily drivers right away. We don't have it yet in Wisconsin, so write to your legislator if you want to see that, because that would be a nice, easy way to do it on the daily drivers as well. But overall, this trust is a great asset to hold both automobiles, real property like real estate, and personal property. And personal property like guns and jewelry is a great asset because we can simply assign it into the trust on the day we sign your trust. So great question. I know a lot of people have the same question, so thank you for submitting it to the YouTube channel. I hope it's helpful to you, and we'll see you next time.